Hey guys, DMS3TV here. Today I have with me the Simgot EN700 bass. Now these are a $100 set of IEMs that, as I've said many things, are very interesting. So let's get right in with the build. Right off the bat I noticed that these are actually made out of a metal housing similar to the One More triples. However, these go around your ears instead of just straight out the bottom, which is a feature I do like with IEMs because they tend to hold in better for me. The grill on the side, I'm not sure if is actually a feature for the driver to be vented. I do notice that there's some sort of a felt-like material down inside there. And the tips, I would say, are pretty generic. They remind me of the tips that came with all the KZs, and were probably interchangeable as well, which isn't a bad thing because I actually liked the KZ tips quite a bit. These in particular are silicone, and it came with several other silicone options. And with that being said, they're actually some of the most comfortable IEMs I've ever worn aside from customs. In fact, I'd probably go as far as to say the most comfortable I've worn that aren't customs. This side being extremely smooth really helps. The only downside being that, of course, eventually they can get hot after extended use, but I never find myself really wanting to take them out because of any sharp edges or anything along that line. Moving down the cable, both the splitter and the actual connector itself both have metal housings. And I will say, as much as I like this cable, there is a downside, and that is that, of course, just like the One More triples, this cable is non-detachable. And speaking of that cable, you actually have a good way to manage it. There's actually a Velcro strap attached to the cable, which is very handy. It even has the company branding right on the side. Now, they also came with a leather carrying case that is, in fact, magnetic. And I like this quite a bit. It's a little bit easier to get into than the case for the One More's was. And while it may not feel quite as thick, I will say this thing is very hard to deform the shape of, and I would certainly trust it to hold IEMs worth $100, if not more. But all that aside, I know you guys want to know about the sound. So, as you would guess, being the EN700 bass, these do have an emphasis on low end. Now, it's not like booming, overwhelming, insane bass, though I will say it can be very strong at times. It's not really mid-bass. It starts more in the low sub is where there's kind of a boost. And I wouldn't say something extreme, but you will notice it more in genres of like EDM. When I was listening to things like Earth, Wind & Fire or something like that, the lows sounded very full, more so than they did on most headphones, because in tracks like that, the low end, especially the sub, can tend to be a little bit more recessed. And Soundstage is pretty good too. I've been very impressed with how these can perform. Center image is actually a lot better, funny enough, than the Odyssey iSign, and as much as it sounds crazy, I would take these over the iSign almost any day. Another interesting bit would be to compare these to the One More triples. The One More triples do have a little bit more sharp highs and less sub. I would definitely say that these are more comfortable, and while the highs are a little bit more recessed, I would still say that they are loud and clear. It's not like they're recessed like the iSigns where they just disappeared into oblivion. I can actually pick out highs relatively well in these. It's almost like the Sennheiser Veil. For $100 picking between these and the One More triples, I would probably take these most times. Partially because of comfort, and partially because I tend to like this sound signature a little bit more from time to time. So guys, that has been my review of the Simgot EN700 bass. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.